Hi, I'm Jonathan Pierce with Pierce Performance, and we're back this week for our next performance tip. This week we're going to focus on how to gain or improve on your external rotation of your hip. So in the diagnostic series we looked at external rotation as a key ingredient in hip mobility, and today we're going to focus on how to work on that if you have deficiencies there. This is also a great series of 3 exercises that you can do if you've got knee problems. So especially those of us that have a collapsing in of our knee, this is a good, a very good, effective series to do, and it will actually help protect your knee and get your hip moving in a more stable and functional way. So we're going to start by doing a glute stretch, and this is not a pigeon variety. I'm really against using the pigeon stretch that's typically presented in yoga and other areas, and unless you're trying to get into full lotus and be able to do those kinds of seated postures for meditation or something like that. So our stretch will be a non-pigeon variety of a glute stretch that I think is more effective for addressing dysfunction of the overall hip rather than just stretching on the trochanter. We're also going to do a glute and piriformis wall stability drill, and then finally we're going to do a band squat drill, which basically is using a fitness band to pump on the hip joint as we squat through a range of motion. Thanks very much for watching, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week as we tackle some new mobility and strength issues. Thanks very much.
All right, guys, this is the glute stretch that I use. I'm against using the pigeon stretch because I think it creates too much stress right at this part of the joint and doesn't necessarily help the whole hip. So with this one, we're going to use a bed or a couch, coffee table, a truck tailgate, whatever you've got, and you're going to lie your lower leg on the ground on the bench. Your knee should be directly in front of your chest rather than out here. So I never want to see you out here. You're going to be here, and then you're trying to keep your hips square. So a lot of us are going to be hiked and rotated and doing different things. Try to get your hips square and bend your left knee so you're dropping in, and then you're stretching over with a clean, straight spine, not rounded like this. Clean spine, diving forward. Chest right to knee. And you can hold that for 10 seconds, then come back out, give yourself a little rest, and then dive back in, chest to knee. And you can, the more you bend on your left side of your knee and your hip, the deeper you can get into this glute on the right. You're just always trying to square up the hips and not cheat. Great. Okay, we're here now doing the glute and piriformis wall stability drill. You can do this a lot of ways. I like this one because you're upright, you're standing on one leg at all times, which is very functional, like many of us do in activity. So we're going to use no real equipment other than a little band here around your knees, and then you're going to set up on the wall, good posture, and you're basically working into abduction at a 45-degree angle, so not 90, but 45. Back to the middle, and then I switch. And I always try to switch as cleanly as possible without shifting in my torso. And I'm just reaching strongly back with my hip. And the other hip has to stabilize me on the ground, which is good for knee, people with knee problems. Good. Okay, this is a band squat. It helps us get external rotation at the bottom of the squat position. So you get the band high and tight around your hip, and then you're going to slowly drop into a squat and then push up strongly through your hip. The band is pulling you this way. You have to fight it with your glute and then push up through. Good, strong core position. You can hold on lightly if you need to, but the whole time you have to feel tension from the band and fight that tension with your glute.